Anaximenes of Miletus stands as a pioneering figure in the annals of ancient Greek philosophy, embodying the spirit of intellectual inquiry that characterized the Milesian school. Born around 586 BCE in the bustling city of Miletus, he flourished at the very beginning of a period of profound philosophical exploration. Anaximenes was almost contemporary of the philosophers Anaximander and Thales, each of whom contributed significantly to the foundation of natural philosophy. However, Anaximenes distinguished himself through his unique perspectives on the nature of the universe, proposing theories that were both innovative and influential. Anaximenes' work came at a time when the Greek world was experiencing significant social and political changes. Stage of the birth and development of the Milesian school of philosophy that began with Thales, considered the first of the Western philosophers, and continued with Anaximander and then Anaximenes, was the flourishing city of Miletus. Renowned for its vast number of colonies, Miletus was a bustling hub of trade, culture, and intellectual activity, making it an ideal environment for the pioneering thoughts of the developing philosophical school. Located on the western coast of Anatolia, was one of the wealthiest and most powerful Greek cities, with a population estimated to be around 80,000 at its peak. Its prosperity was largely due to its strategic location, which facilitated extensive maritime trade across the Mediterranean and beyond. As a city, the ancient Miletus was governed at that time as a democracy after a period of tyranny that ended around 600 BCE, allowing for greater civic participation and fostering an atmosphere conducive to intellectual pursuits. The city boasted a rich cultural life, with numerous temples, public buildings, and the renowned Milesian school of thought. In regard of the central ideas of his philosophical thought, unlike Thales, who posited that water was the fundamental substance of all matter, and Anaximander, who suggested an indefinite, boundless principle called the apeiron, Anaximenes introduced the concept that air, or air, was the essential element from which everything else originated. He observed that air undergoes various transformations, becoming rarefied into fire or condensed into wind, clouds, water, and eventually earth and stone. This idea was revolutionary as it provided a more tangible and observable basis for understanding the transformations in the natural world, emphasizing a dynamic process driven by changes in density. Anaximenes' approach to his work was marked by a blend of empirical observation and rational speculation. His theories were grounded in the natural phenomena he could observe, making his work more accessible and relatable compared to the more abstract ideas of his predecessors. For instance, he noted how air becomes visible through condensation and rarefaction processes, aligning his philosophical concepts with everyday experiences. This empirical grounding helped bridge the gap between philosophy and the burgeoning natural sciences, setting a precedent for future thinkers. In cosmology, Anaximenes proposed a model that reflected his broader philosophical principles of air and transformation. He envisioned the Earth as a flat disk floating on a cushion of air, a notion that aligned with his belief in air as the fundamental substance. The sun, moon, and stars, he theorized, were fiery objects also sustained by the air, and they moved around the Earth. According to Anaximenes, the stars were fixed like nails in a crystalline sphere, with their movements and positions influenced by the varying densities of air. This model, though simplistic by modern standards, represented a significant attempt to explain celestial phenomena through natural processes, advancing the idea that the cosmos could be understood through observation and rational deduction. One of Anaximenes' extraordinary initiatives was his attempt to quantify and explain natural phenomena through a single underlying principle. This holistic approach was a significant departure from the mythological explanations prevalent at the time, positioning Anaximenes as a crucial figure in the transition from mythos to logos, from myth-based explanations to reasoned, logical thought. His work exemplified a shift towards seeking natural explanations for natural events, which would become a cornerstone of scientific inquiry. The impact of Anaximenes' ideas extended beyond his immediate context, influencing subsequent generations of philosophers and scientists. His concept of air as the fundamental substance inspired later thinkers to explore the nature of elements and their transformations, contributing to the development of early theories of matter and the eventual emergence of chemistry. Furthermore, his emphasis on empirical observation would resonate through the works of figures like Aristotle and the early modern scientists who laid the foundations of the scientific method. Anaximenes' personal life, though not extensively documented, reflects the broader social and intellectual environment of Miletus. He likely belonged to a family of some means, given his education and ability to pursue philosophical studies. Miletus, as a hub of learning and culture, provided Anaximenes with access to a wealth of knowledge and the opportunity to engage with other thinkers. The differences between Anaximenes and his contemporaries are particularly striking in their approaches to explaining the cosmos. While Thales and Anaximander each proposed different primordial substances, Anaximenes' choice of air as the fundamental element was unique in its focus on a substance that was both ubiquitous and essential to life. This choice reflected a pragmatic and observationally grounded perspective, in contrast to the more speculative nature of Anaximander's Epeiron. Anaximenes' theories also differed from those of later philosophers like Heraclitus, who emphasized change and conflict as fundamental aspects of the universe, whereas Anaximenes sought a unifying principle underlying those changes. Anaximenes' celestial arrangement underscored his innovative approach to natural philosophy, blending empirical observations with speculative reasoning to offer a coherent view of the universe's structure. Anaximenes' collaboration with other eminent figures of his era further highlights the interconnectedness of Greek philosophical thought. His ideas likely influenced and were influenced by the works of other of the earliest philosophers and scientists, which may have been present besides the prominent Thales and Anaximander, first and foremost in the Ionian tradition. This intellectual exchange was facilitated by the vibrant cultural milieu of Miletus and the broader Greek world, where scholars, as it was seen in the following centuries, regularly engaged in dialogue and debate, pushing the boundaries of knowledge and understanding. In his major works, as reported by later chroniclers, Anaximenes articulated principles that would resonate through various branches of philosophy and science. His notion that air could transform into different substances through processes of condensation and rarefaction prefigured later theories in physics and chemistry. He also explored cosmology, proposing that the Earth was flat and floated on air, and that celestial bodies were formed from air and fire. While these ideas may seem rudimentary by modern standards, they represented significant advances in the attempt to understand the natural world through reasoned inquiry. Anaximenes' death, believed to have occurred around 528 BCE, marked the end of an era in early Greek philosophy. Yet, his legacy endured, influencing both his contemporaries and later generations. The Milesian school's emphasis on identifying a single underlying principle of the cosmos laid the groundwork for subsequent philosophical and scientific endeavors. Anaximenes' work exemplified the Milesian commitment to seeking natural explanations for natural phenomena, a pursuit that would shape the trajectory of Western thought. In conclusion, Anaximenes' contributions to ancient Greek philosophy were both pioneering and transformative. His innovative theories about the fundamental nature of the universe, grounded in empirical observation and rational speculation, set a new standard for philosophical inquiry. The dynamic interplay of his ideas with those of his predecessors and contemporaries underscores the collaborative and cumulative nature of intellectual progress in ancient Greece. Anaximenes' work not only advanced the understanding of the natural world, but also laid the foundations for the scientific method, influencing the course of human knowledge and the development of civilization. His legacy is a testament to the enduring power of inquiry and the relentless pursuit of truth that characterizes the human spirit.